What's going down, everybody? This is your boy Druski, and this is another edition of Space Bucket Growing with Druski. Let's get the show started.
Welcome to the podcast.
So what's going down, everybody? As y'all know, this show is always brought to you by our great friends, the Rainman Space Bucket Microgrow. You're going to check them out on Instagram at mostlysafe8. Give them a follow. Also, check out their store. There's going to be more of a description later on in this episode. It's actually going to be in the bio or the description, wherever you're watching this at, on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? You'll see that later edited in. And please follow us on Instagram at whatarewedoing_podcast, because that is where you're going to find the majority of the pictures when it comes to us showing what the grow looks like, the progress we're doing. It's not going to be like it every day, like, hey, it's me mixing nutrients. You're just going to see the nutrients. So you're going to pretty much know, like, that day was dedicated to nutrients. I'll tell y'all a little bit of stuff in the caption. You know what I mean? But we'd also like to thank Oasis Cultivations for providing seeds, Lotus Eater Organics for providing buckets, but, you know, our main friends, Rainman Space Bucket Microgrow, for, providing everything that we've needed for this grow, from mentoring words to nutrients to pH meters to you name it, man. And LED lights. That Galaxy Hydro is putting in some work, and we're going to talk about that later on in this episode here. But what I really wanted to talk about today was trying something a little bit different. Now that we see LED growth, how A, rapid it was, B, how if you got your height right, the plant won't stretch, so it'll be a nice, squat, healthy plant. Another thing I've noticed with this LED build, like the growth is big and quick. Like, my seedling didn't grow this fast when I had the CFL build. So I'm like really watching this thing right now, because it's on its next phase of growing another set of like actual leaves. It looks like its first node, for real. And it's just this little short, squat plant putting in mad work. We are feeding it with nectar for the gods, nutrients, on the seedling clone regimen right now. I'm actually feeding that one pure nutrients for right now, because there is so much drainage in my pot that I'm using. Even though it is a soil-based medium, it's not packed in there massively tight, so most of that is runoff. So I gotta make sure that it stays fed. So it's small doses multiple times, but you know what I'm saying? That's what is happening with that. But what I wanted to do was actually compare what I've been seeing with the LED and the CFL and builds. I mean, and not just in general, like what their builds like, but what's been going on in them. as we know in the CFL build, I'm doing one from seed till the point that you have it at right now. So both of these grows are from seed. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was, as we know, we got hit with a heat wave. During the peak of that heat wave, we also changed temperature and overwatered. The CFL build has had a really hard life. And then at that point, like even still till now, I measured our pH or our moisture in the soil last night, and this thing is still wet. I attribute that to how much moisture is now in the air via the swamp cooler. The thing with the CFL build, it's not doing the same thing. I think because there's just no plant in there yet, and roots are moving around and air, and there's going to be different situations. We've got a smart pot versus just a plastic bucket, aka the bucket was the pot, and then everything else is built around that nature in the CFL build. So the engineering was different in the builds of both the CFL versus the LED. But as far as growth, coming back from a heat wave, I've noticed like a lot of this new, to me it's got like a yellow, but this is like light, super light green. And from what I understand, that we've got signs of new growth. So I'm not complaining. From our sponsor on Instagram at mostlysafe8 reads, that is a sign of healthy growth. Like I said, the super green foliage is just mad different when I look at it, and I don't get the color scheme difference. I still got like these dark green leaves on the bottom. Now I got on top, I got like this super light green growth coming in. And even from the bottom end of the foliage here too, like there's new growth coming out everywhere. And if you look at how tall it is, to me, it's been stripped back so much just to get all the damage off of it. It looks like a bunch of clones sitting in a bucket to me. But the tallest from soil to the actual top part, like the end of the stem, it's still 15 inches tall, but it is missing, I believe it's like 2 full stem sites. They just got obliterated by the heat, and so I had to let them go. And a heat wave mixed in with CFL lights, and foil tape reflecting all of that light, equals an even hotter situation for the plant. So it's a lesson learned. I don't want to say I'm willing to scrap the CFL build, but I am willing to now up front go with maybe a smaller LED build this way. The thing is though, I want to try adding white LEDs to a spacer. I would just wonder what type of LED light I could use that was been in a warm white to replace the CFLs, and what would have to be the wattage of a white LED or a warm white LED, not, like a non-traditional UFO, but it's something to wonder about. But what I've also been talking about on Instagram as well is starting the addition of maybe another space bucket, because I've come into access with full, like, miniature 3-gallon pots, and sticking a 3-gallon pot inside the 5 and doing a deep water culture grow out of a space bucket. Now, and I'm talking about out of a traditional space bucket, so I know the yield increase on that is supposed to be phenomenal when you're doing deep water culture. My thing is, in a confined space, can you train? Because you'd have to definitely, I believe, early on, or sometime within like your 4th spacer, because of how tall that thing's gonna get, you'd have to incorporate a couple of screens, and that's where I believe that may become a problem, especially when you want to get into defoliation, and getting deeper into training. That's just me talking. I've tried to figure out the logistics of it in my head. I'm not really a big person on like writing things down. I'm kind of more of a see, do, build. It kind of comes out the way I want it because I've got references, and references I've built I can even further improve on by doing things differently, but I remember how to do them. I should be writing this stuff down into a book of some sort. Y'all let me know. It'd be nice. Or I can write out a whole thing, or y'all can listen to this whole series. You know what I'm saying? And let's go that way. But, alright, so, because of how big, you'd really have to control these yields. And doing so, because I've seen some really big screens of green when it comes to deep water culture grows. Those things are massive. So in a space bucket, could you have the same amount of yield, deep water culture, LEDs? I would believe on the LED front, you might have to do a nice fat, like 2-spacer LED. Just fill up the whole thing. 50/50 SMD, red, blue. It'll do the trick, but you've got to have a lot of LED. And then you would have to have multiple screens to just control the build. Oh man, I think that'd be a problem. Especially like being careful building, you know what I'm saying? Like you'd really have to mark which one's the screen, because everything's going to be lined in foil tape in my mind. And you're going to have a plant at the end of the day that's probably the size of 2 fully developed space buckets at the end of the day. And that's just going to be and spacers, like, that's just a problem. To me, I think it's going to do too much damage when it comes to using the screens, especially when it comes to harvest. If you're really meticulous. You have your screen segmented in a way that you can really separate these branches to become like light-bearing colas with the addition of LED lighting. I mean, it might be a pain in the ass, but with the addition of the LED spacer penetrating into the foliage, and then you got the LED light coming from the top, aka the lid, I think you might be able to get more than your couple of ounce yield from that, even in a 3-gallon starting place, just because of how much room you have still for the roots to grow. You're gonna have a ball, don't get me wrong, but there's gonna be your problem. Your plant gets bigger. You've got to change the water. How do you change the water without fucking everything up? You'd have to come up with a hose feeding system to where, like, but then you got to clean it out. So you have to be able to take this out. Whew. Man, that sounds like a problem, now that I think about it. But this is why I have these sessions, you guys. I would love to have your input on this. But for me, that's the problem I might see right there. It's like, as your plant grows and you got to keep changing this water and this and that, inside of a space bucket, taking off, you know what I'm saying, these spacers, and then when you get to the point of having screens, like, yeah, you'd have to build a system for a way for that net to connect to the spacer, their top spacer, and then you put handles on your top spacer, and you just lift the whole thing up and have a backup bucket made and ready to just like, you've got another one to where you can lift the whole thing up, clean everything out, change your solution, and you just keep it moving in another bucket, like the whole same setup. So having like your tubing and all that good shit drilled in and like built into this bucket, I already see that as a totally bad idea. So we'd have to be going up and through a spacer, and through your net cup to accommodate that. That's just if you're brave enough. But I mean, I don't really see that being too big of an issue of you lifting up the whole thing. You just have to remember from the first spacer, like, you don't do any lifting. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to change solutions and everything like that. And that's going to lift up the whole thing. And it's going to be nice and stable and connected if you do it the right way. In an engineering standpoint, connecting that with like longer, like, rods of some sort, or a clippable, like, metal bar of some sort, it might work. I just think there'd be a lot more to incorporate into doing that in the space bucket, to help you with maintenance at the end of the day. Maintenance and taking care of your plant at the end of the day, I think might be like one of your biggest problems. But that's just me talking. But I do want to try it, because deep water culture, yield wise, seems like the best option, because I've seen a lot of people, and in the small space that they have, like, they're doing like 4 in a bucket. Jesus. And then, like, how big these things get, it's just ridiculous. And the rapid growth that comes from them is amazing. And I want to try to do that in a controlled space. Because if I can yield more using great technology and one of, like, the best and easiest growing methods, from what it looks like. I'm not calling it the best because I've never done it. Just from what it looks like we could do a lot of damage and get a lot of cannabis out of that growth. So, it's just something I've been thinking about. I've been wanting to go through it with you guys on a more private level. That's why we do Space Bucket Growing with Druski. And we also want to give you updates of our plants. Like I said earlier in this thing, you follow us on Instagram at whatarewedoing_podcast. You'll find the links to all the latest episodes in our biography. You can also check us out on iHeartRadio. Just look up Space Bucket Growing with Druski. It'll come up under podcasts, and that's where we're at on that. But I just wanted everybody who also listens to us on YouTube. I know all it takes is a camera. I'm working with a couple of things that this is complicated. This is more of a mobile podcast, so I'm actually using the Spreaker Studio. And it's the app that you can actually get on your phone. You can also get the Spreaker app for your phone if you're doing this via mobile. And you can also look us up, follow us that way as well. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a multitude of ways of following us, but we do have all the pictures to the things that we are talking about, the things that do come up on our podcast on Instagram, and that's how we kind of visually represent this for right now. And I kind of don't like the camera space that I have. I've thought about doing a visual podcast for a long time, you guys. I've been video blogging and things of that for some nature, so I thought the podcast, just to get my voice behind it, was different. But we've got people who are requesting videos, so I am looking into that kind of technology. Also, you guys, you can find me a few ways. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. I am on Reddit. If you guys believe in Reddit, holla at me on there. It's Druski702. I've got almost every episode linked via Reddit pages there. I've got pictures also of the grow, so that's a little bit more in depth on the grow as well on Reddit. If you guys are nerdy enough to also be on Image URL, you can find me that way as well. And that's that, y'all. We're also going to get into something real quick here that's been really fun, and we're going to get into recreational cannabis in the state of Nevada. That's right, folks. We are so happy. The turnaround started. Recreational cannabis prohibition is ended as of yesterday. And it's been a really, really good and cool thing. Man, there were dispensary parties all at the stroke of midnight till 3 a.m. because now, from what I understand, most of our dispensaries can actually close at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then open back up at 7 a.m. So we are almost the epitome of 24 hours. in Las Vegas. You know, we give you that 18.6. But I'm looking on Weed Maps, and now that I can go on Weed Maps, and like right down the street from my house is Oasis Medical Cannabis Las Vegas. So they have their menu up on here. I gotta let Weed Maps load, you guys, but you know what I'm saying? They've got their page on here. They've also got, you know, everybody in your area. That's why I kind of fell in love with Weed Maps as soon as my boy showed me this. Stacks actually is the one who put me on Weed Maps. And I noticed as of yesterday, there was actually a couple of dispensaries that had their prices including tax, which that right there, like, that's awesome, because if you're displaying already off the bat that these are your prices with tax included, you know what I'm saying? That just gives, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know, yeah, so it's Oasis Medical Cannabis. So it says our prices include tax. So when you go to their menu and you know that you're spending about $50, you still have your industry standard $40 eighths, but you at least know what you're getting now. Like, I know if I go in and get an eighth of Skywalker OG, I know I can get an eighth for $40. I'm good with that. Like, after tax, $40, bang, I'm out of there. Skywalker OG Indica, you know what I'm saying? If I can get Blueberry Athena for 40 and eighth, Sugar Black Rose, 40 and eighth, Vanilla Kush, 40 and eighth, and that's just on the indica side. Let's see what kind of sativas I got. Because, you know what I'm saying, I can get Blackberry Cherry Soda, Double Dream, Midnight, Fire Angel, Double Tangy Banana, Candyland, Snow Dog. I can get CBD, that Harlequin. Ooh, for 40 and 8, that's going to be the business. For you Pineapple Express smokers, they got that for 40 and 8. Blue Dream, 40 and 8. And look, y'all, don't shit on Blue Dream. Stop the Blue Dream shaming. You know what I'm saying? I just believe there was a falsehood in sellers' words of what it was. You know what I'm saying? You could pass off for Blue Dream, so they were selling it as Blue Dream. So you can't get mad at Blue Dream if you really have Blue Dream under your belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. Don't give Blue Dream a bad name when it doesn't deserve one. You dig what I'm saying? Let's see. But we can get MTF and Jack Herrer for 40 and 8. You know what I'm saying? We got some hybrids on deck. Nice CBD. Some Gorilla Glue number 4. And then, you know what I'm saying, y'all got edibles up there, you know what I'm talking about. They got a whole lot of stuff, man. And, you know what I'm saying, after taxes, if their prices include after taxes, you know what I'm saying, you can get in there, you know what I'm saying, and not have to spend all your money. You can go in there every couple of days, get your eighth, you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying, not $100 spender, you know what I'm talking about. And that's going to be the majority of people, you know what I'm saying. They just want to come in and get a nice eighth that's reasonable. It'll do what they need it to do. If they do their homework, that's why we have sites like Weed Maps and Leafly and things of that nature. So I really do condone doing your homework. But this is only 3 miles away from me, and you know what I'm saying? It's not too bad. But as for that, you know what I'm saying? I like this new cannabis market here in Vegas, and it's just because like now I can go in, and let's say I know I'm going home, but like I'm on the Strip, or I'm somewhere close to that, like on Paradise and Sahara, and I can roll up to Inyo, or no, it's Relief. Sorry, Las Vegas Relief, not Inyo. And I can check out their menu. I can see if we're smoking the Devil's Lettuce, and I can come up pretty much with almost like an exact number of what I'm going to be spending. You know what I'm saying? I do like that they have CBD products. They've got their own stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I personally am now going to be looking for more CBD than THC in my selections. And, you know, if they don't have it, they don't have it. If they do, great. But it gives me an opportunity to actually medicate and not be a medical card holder. There's a lot of stuff that's still medically card holding I don't condone. I like to be able to do certain things. And if my mind is clear enough by using cannabis, now that it's a recreational state, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm just going to go to the dispensary to get my cannabis, which is, you know, another thing. In a few months, we'll be starting another from seed grow here soon. We've got 2 grows rolling. We've got one in recovery going. We got flower newts coming the next time it gets dry. After we water it, we're gonna water it again, and then we're gonna hit it with a set of newts the next time we water it. But I'm waiting till the soil gets dry. The LED, the purple grenade. If growth continues like this, I will be placing it in the 3-gallon smart pot, and I will be starting early veg stage, which will already should have planned on starting some topping. We're going to take off the 3rd node, and we're going to get a nice wide plant out of this. So we're going to do a lot of training. It's going to be a lot of fun. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. You know what I'm saying? At the end of this, you know what I'm saying, I just want to give everybody something that I've learned from that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because this grow process is something I've always wanted to do. But I believe that doing it this way and giving it to you guys sonically, y'all can listen to it. Y'all can actually relate to the person that you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know we medicate together. You know what I'm saying? If you've medicated already and then you're listening to this, awesome. If you're medicated while listening to this, awesome. But this is also in parts of wanting our own medication, knowing what's in our medication. You know what I'm saying? Getting the particular strains that we need. You know what I'm saying? The things that we want to do out of it. having certain ways of preferring our weed. We can cure our weed the way we want to, you know what I'm saying, and use it when it's perfect. You dig what I'm saying? We can medicate perfectly. So that's just what this is for, man. I wanted to get y'all involved. The last episode of Smoke with Your Boys was an introduction to the What Are We Doing podcast, which is I'm going to not put those up on YouTube anymore. We're starting to turn a little left. Those might, stray away. I don't know yet. I've been thinking about it and putting those on a different network. We're getting a little adult in there, but it's fun at the same time. We still talking about cannabis and everything that it does. But, yeah, you guys, check us out on iHeartRadio, Spacebucket Growing with Druski. Please listen to us on the Spreaker Network. If you're still listening on the Spreaker Network, hit that follow button. Engage with us. Trichome, I saw that. You know what I'm saying? LEDs are going to be like every grow that I do now is an LED grow. So don't worry. The CFL is still going to stay in place until it dies. I built that. You know what I'm saying? That's my first bucket. That's my baby. But she might get just a smaller wattage LED, and then some LED improvements inside. Some spacers might get trimmed. I noticed that as well too. Or I might use that long spacer as the LED spacer, because then everything else can just roll on top of it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still some improvements that can be made upon the CFL build, but we're waiting until our good friends at Mostly Safe 8, that's Rainman Spacebucket Microgrows, gives us the good news that we have. And I don't think I shared it with you guys last time, but we're getting our Spacebucket a month early, hopefully. So, I'm jumping for joy, excited here, because I already have my third smart pot. I've already got soil in it. I've already got it being moistened, and I'm adding things to make it more of a compost to get ready. I'm going to check the pH on it once everything gets done, but it's got it's got tea leaf, watermelon, things of that nature in it. It's really, really good stuff for the soil. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting that soil prepped, because I've got a feeling, man, that things are going to happen very, very rapidly. So, we've got the CFL coming back from recovery. We got the LED going. We've got some nectar for the gods. And I know people are starting to shame bottle nutrients, but hey, I'm using bottle nutrients, and I'm going to use them the correct way, and I am going to make sure I flush accordingly. I might even go longer than what they tell me to go, but I will flush. I will, you know what I'm saying, do everything the way it's supposed to be done, and if that happens, we will have part of the White Ash gang. But I'm out, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, follow us on Instagram at whatarewedoing_podcast, and follow our friends at Mostly Safe and the number 8, Mostly Safe 8. Hit the Lotus Eaters at the Lotus Eater Organics, Lotus Eater Organics. Follow my partner, my boy, my homeboy, my compadre, the other half of What Are We Doing, that Stacks510 on Instagram. And y'all have a lovely, lovely day. Stay medicated. Stay safe out there in them streets. And don't do nothing stupid and ruin it for everybody by smoking weed in public. Just don't do it. Keep your medication to yourself. And stay smoky, my friends.